Okay, so let's say you need a domain name for some reason. And in this particular video, I'm creating a domain that's going to tie into my YouTube channel creation, which is in another series of videos. I want a domain that's going to match my channel name. So before I created my channel, I needed to do some research and figure out what was available. So what I came up with was the NanoTuts channel name, and now I'm going to do a domain name for that. I've already done the research, so I know it's available, but for those who are just getting started with domain creation and the starting up of their projects, the best place I found to start is domain.com. And so if you go to domain.com, this is what you get. At least at the time of this recording, this is how the page looks. So let's see if our domain name that we want is available. So in this particular case, for an example, we're going to say example.com. And example.com is taken. And then it'll give you some options down here as far as what's available that are close to your example.com. Now, I've never used any of the examples. I've never used any of the suggestions before. And if you look over here, it tells you what the price is because it thinks that these are hot items, premium domains, things like that. Don't ever pay for these because it's advertising. It's not worth $7,000 for this domain name. So that particular one's taken. But let's change it up a little bit. We want to be example. We want to be 20 example 23. Look, and it says it's available, right? So you can add this to cart, and there it is. This is what they want you to pay for privacy protection. Your domain purchase for 2 years. Let's see what it is per year. So they want you to pay $9 for privacy and protection, which is the whois, and a domain purchase of $10 a year. And there's your total. You can sign out here or check out here. But what I found is I like to go through my hosting service. I don't ever buy anything from domain. I just use it for research purposes. So for my particular hosting service, I use DreamHost. And I'll have a separate video on how to use DreamHost and all that stuff. But I already have it set up here. So here's dreamhost.com. This is what their homepage looks like at the moment. And if you don't already have hosting for your domain, you need to get it. Otherwise, there's no point in even having a domain name. But as you can see here, there's different options available as far as hosting. Now, I've been using DreamHost since the early 2000s. So for almost 20 years, I've been using DreamHost. And it's been a great service. We won't go into details here, but this is what I like to do. You can register domains on your hosting platform, and typically it's a little bit cheaper, and it's a one-stop shop. So you have your hosting and your domain all in the same spot. It's easier to maintain instead of having two different websites for hosting and then domain registration, and then you have to connect the two and all that kind of stuff, and it's just a pain in the neck. The more you have to do with outside vendors and third parties, the more chances of things breaking you have. So I will go ahead and log into my account and show you the next steps there. All right, so we're inside my account, and we will go ahead and set up a domain name here. All right, so it's got a simple little thing for domain names. Got a button here that'll show you all your websites that you have already registered with them, WordPress, your billing, your account information, and that's DreamHost. So we want to go to Manage Registrations. Okay, so here, it looks kind of familiar. It looks kind of like the domain.com site. So I'm going to put in NanoTuts.com. I'm going to hit search. And look, it says NanoTuts is available for $8.99. So if I click that, notice there's no protection or security and privacy added to this. It's $8.99. It also gives you the suggestions and their prices. See the difference in the prices? We'll go ahead and do a proceed to checkout. Here is, I want all my contact information private. When you register, this is the privacy that you're being charged for on domain. This is automatic, it's free. All right? There it tells you what that means. And down at the bottom, this is that multiple third-party vendor situation I was talking about. Your name servers will be tied to DreamHost because that's your hosting service. If you bought this domain from domains.com and then had a hosting service, you would have to use their name servers on your hosting, which means that's a break in the chain. You don't want that, if at all possible. So I'm going to go ahead and hit continue. I'm going to register for 1 year. I'm going to enable free domain privacy. All right. All right. So here, I'm going to go ahead and do my thing. Okay, so after I registered, this is the pop-up screen. Obviously, you can read this on your own, but in about 15 minutes, it'll be ready to start uploading material to. Pretty cool, huh? So I'm going to go ahead and get started on this, and that's basically how you register a domain. It's that simple. For DreamHost and your hosting services, there'll be different ways and different procedures and different panels on how to get started, and we'll go into that a little bit later, but that's just the basics of how to get your own domain name registered to build your projects, your websites, and go about your business. All right? Hope you learned something. On to the next.